say, I love Facebook. I love Facebook because people watch you. And I had a mutual friend that I ended up becoming friends with this gentleman. He was watching me. He said, hey, what's this Visalus thing about? I just told him straight up what it was about. He had no intentions of joining at all. You know what I'm saying? He just wanted to copy us. Well, what's the saying Ryan has? You can copy us, but you can't? Exactly. So ended up flying this guy out on a whim. Didn't want to join. Anyways, bottom line, this guy lost an income, 5-figure income. Decided to jump on board. About 9 days later, ran to regional director. Within 30 days, went to a 5-figure income. Within 63 days, went to ambassador. Then went on to 1-star ambassador. I'm telling you, he built it organically. So he didn't go out and ransack his team. He came and built it organically. And so it's an honor to have this on the stage. I love him. He changed my life. 1-star ambassador last year.
I gotta give my love out obviously to my Heavenly Father. My wife wasn't able to be here today, along with her 3 kids. We have a restaurant business back home that my wife and our family had to kind of tend to, but really excited. Also, my 1,200 something Fearless Hawaiians back in Hawaii gearing up for our major event next week with the Lusaros. So they're back over there. I know a lot of you guys have to go to Hawaii, so you know, let's connect after. But anyhow, we're up in Hawaii. I spent a lot of time out on the ocean surfing, and when the waves are cracking, when they're taller than this roof right here, a lot of things, you see a lot of guys out in the pack, and you think that they're talking some story, you think it's kind of loud, but it actually isn't. It's actually pretty quiet, and it's actually pretty scary. You know, when you feel the vibration of these waves and they crack, it's like, oh, what am I doing out here, kind of thing. You know what I mean? But every once in a while, when these huge sets come in, when this big wave comes in. Everyone will look to the few people who have the respect of that spot, and they'll look at that person and say, okay, so am I on this thing or what? You know, that's kind of the look that they'll give them. And they'll usually say one thing to you, and if they're telling it to you, you better take it. They'll say, well, 2 things, rush them. And in Hawaii, when you hear that, when you're out in the ocean, and you have the guys on the spot say, bro, rush them. You better rush them, you know? So I flew to Orlando, Florida. I sat down in front of Ryan Blair. I sat down with Blake Mallon, and I said, oh, and of course, Tony Rondo Lucero obviously had an instrumental part to find me up there. Sat down, and they said, oh, man, I was in 5 figures a month. A lot of my friends, family, people were like, dude, what are you doing? That's what most people want to do in the industry. Well, you know, why would you even want to take a look at this Visalus thing or whatever this thing is called? I said, bro, I'm just going to check it out and maybe copy some, bring some back to, and we'll get this thing going. I went up there and I said, bro, ain't no way we're going to be running against these guys. No way. So I went back to Hawaii, and I stood in front of my wife, and I said, whoa, babe, so check this out. Remember that company I was going to try and copy, and I was going to do the thing, right? She's like, yeah, yes, what now? I said, ooh, so it looks like I'm going to be pulling in with these guys, you know? And she said a couple of things to me. Dave, so, just rush them. I walked away from 5 figures a month. Whoa, I can't get emotional. Whoa, okay. I walked away and we started feeling the effects right away, like immediately. Pulled out, I resigned, walked away from thousands and thousands of people in our organization, and the week that we came into Visalus, my wife and I couldn't even afford to buy our kids school supplies because it was that drastic. And I said to myself, I spent 3 years in the trenches building this business. How am I going to do? And I said, if I can replace this income in about 6 months, I think it would be good. And she's like, okay. I replaced that income at Visalus in 3 weeks, guys. So some of us are standing out there right now and saying, whoa, you know what, I wonder, I'm a little afraid to talk to my friends, I'm a little afraid to talk to my family, I don't know if I can do this thing, I don't know if I'm like those guys on the stage. Just rush them. That's all it is. Everyone say it. Just rush them. most kids would probably, you know what I mean? After they leave the house or something like that, they say, thank you, mom and dad, for everything, and split and go on their merry way. My parents taught me everything I know about this industry. Now it's kind of funny. I'm kind of teaching them the more technological side of the industry now. And they're slowly catching on to it, but they're recruiting maniacs, and they hit ambassador, I think, in the first couple of months or something like that. And we're just... Yeah, organic, we built all of us, organic, you know what I mean? And so they, without further, my father-in-law has been in the entertainment industry for 30-something years in Hawaii, even Waikiki, on the Big Island, and whatnot. So, of course, when everyone found out that Mr. Fran Callejo, the entertainer of Hawaii, joined Visalus, like, well, we gotta come check that out then. And so, I'm actually running to outpace my parents. Okay, that's a good problem to have, but a problem nonetheless. So, anyhow, Fred and Elias Callejo.
I've been meeting on this lady for 35 years. Now I know Elias was trying to do this, but we didn't get that much of a response. Aloha! That's what I wanted to hear. Now, if you guys didn't know this, aloha, everybody knows it means hello, goodbye. The real meaning of aloha, really, is a longer meaning actually, but ha is breath. Alo means life. Aloha is actually the breath of life. That's right. So now you know what aloha means. So when you give aloha to someone, you're giving the breath of life. Folks, don't you think Visalus is the breath of life? Yeah. Now, I didn't make it here yesterday. I just got in this morning, and I hope I don't get emotional. But the reason is because my dad suffered a massive heart attack. And he's in the hospital, and I don't think he'll pull through. But you know, I'm standing there, and I'm watching him with tubes in his nose and his mouth, and he's unconscious. And I'm watching him, and looking at the monitors, and I said to myself, life is very fragile. Life is very fragile. Everyone will go through this. Everyone will go through this. It's not a matter of how, it's a matter of when. We're all going to go through this. We all know that, right? Keakua, God knows, right? I said to myself, life is very fragile. Hence the reason why I picked that song. I don't know if you guys remember that song that we walked out with. It was by Earth, Wind, and Fire. It's called In the Storm. Visalus, to me, is very solid. When we build a foundation, it needs to be solid. Like a stone, like a rock. Our foundation is solid. You, yourself, has to be solid. Both feet on the ground. Don't be like that foolish man who built his house on the sand. Build your house on a solid foundation. Aloha.
Give up our great ambassadors.
I'd like to thank Visalus, Madiba, the leadership of the company, for giving the people of the islands the opportunity to show us that there is light at the end of the tunnel. For those of you who don't live in the islands, it's very common for us to work 2 and 3 and 4 jobs. I currently work at in the resort and in management, and I worked when Elias bought Visalus, and we discussed it and said, okay, we have to run. So it's like the volcano. When it erupts, it just moves. And so that's what happened to us. And I'd like to say that it's not about really us, it's about our team.
That's right.
It's the people who makes us. And everyone in the islands, everybody's hungry, everybody's wanting. And we're so fortunate that our team is back there and they're gathering their armor and everything to be in Kansas. We have our Freedom Force and our California team here. Mojo, thank you, mahalo. Everybody say mahalo. Mahalo means thank you. But again, people thought I was crazy. People thought I was nuts. You mean to say you go home, you still are working. Yes, I work till 12 and sometimes till 1:30 in the morning. I am making calls. I'm taking a lunch break. I've never had a lunch break. I take calls in between to help close people, do three-way calls. People, actually, I had friends and family who used to laugh. They went, oh no, here you go again. And you know what? I turned around and told everybody, you know what? Nobody's going to walk to the bank for us, for our family. Nobody's going to believe. You have to believe in your own self. People, yes, they stood on the sidelines, they watched, they laughed, they said I was crazy or we were crazy. My response to them was, you know what? It's uncomfortable now, but I'd rather be uncomfortable now to be comfortable later. So, you have to believe in yourself. Because Visalus has given us that. You have to go out there and make it happen. Aloha.
A brand new ambassador, give us my love. All right, we're gonna wait some more stuff. One more time, people.